Okay, today we're installing a windshield on the Arctic Cat Wildcat. This is the windshield for that particular model. If this is getting shipped to you, it's going to ship to you very similar like this. It's going to be wrapped up with some plastic. We're going to have some instruction pack for you that's on there that has all the installation instructions and such, as well as contact information in case you have any questions. The first thing we want to do when we go to start installing the windshield, well, there's two things we want to do. Get a screwdriver and a 7/16 inch open-end wrench is what you want to start with. Basically all the tools you'll need to install it. And then our next thing we're going to want to do is we want to peel this plastic off of this windshield just back past the holes. Now the reason we state this is just bringing it past the holes is because this allows you to install the windshield. If there's any problems, it makes your windshield easier for us to return if there's any issues with sizing or such like that. And we'll go through how to size them properly in this as well. But that's what we want to start with doing, is we're going to peel these off, just back past the holes on both sides. Leave all the top section attached until you're all finished. I peel that off at the end after I put the bumpers on. That's the best, safest way to do it. It stops you from having any scratching issues while you're installing it, and just keeps it nice and clean so your fingerprints aren't all over it. Now, this time we want to get our brackets out and our 4 bolts, nuts, lock washers, all that stuff. We've got to put it on. I mean, you can do this yourself. It's really easier if you have a second person to help you on the other side. So I'm going to ask Brandon to come over, give me a hand here. Okay, and then on this one, it's a little bit of a unique thing. It's part due to the fanciness of this style right here. You just got to work your way a little bit with the bolts. Make sure that you're not, it's kind of right on this weld right here. On this bike, I really think that it is really important just to put your bottom 2 on. I don't even work up to the next one until I've got this all set. Thanks. Because of the angle of your roll bar, changes things up a little bit. So you'll get a better fixation if you just do one, and then once you get this all set in place and tightened down, then you go to the top one. Push that guy down as tight as we can to the body so that our bracket drops just underneath that little weld right there. And we're going to cinch that one down pretty good right there. You don't necessarily need to tighten it all the way, but you want to get it down pretty darn tight so that it just locks that place. Move over to your other side. Do the exact same thing on this side, where we're pushing that down as tight as we can there. Getting that just past that weld, and then secure that guy down. Now the reason in that is, like I was saying, this angle, it's hard sometimes to push it down lower and get it set right if you do that first. So I'm just going to go ahead and get this pushed. Now one of the things you can do when you're tightening these down is you can put a little force as you push on this. Actually push your wrench out a little bit. It keeps the flex of the windshield going outward so it doesn't actually suck it back in behind the roll bar. And now that I don't need to worry about going over to the other side to put this one on, because reality, the windshield's locked into position. Again, as I'm screwing that down, I'm just pushing upward towards the windshield on the wrench so that it's keeping my windshield nice and even. And while I'm here, I'm going to lock these guys down so that they are nice and tight. And this side will be done. Now let's just hop over to the other side. I'm going to do the same thing here, tighten it down, give it a little outward pressure so that we're keeping that side down nice and tight. Okay, and basically, for the most part, the majority of our installation is finished. A couple things I'm going to go really quick just so you can see. You know, what's the difference with ours, and if you haven't bought a windshield yet, what's the difference with ours? How it fits to the contour of your body. If you'll notice that that's nice and tight. It's a nice solid fixation. This gentleman's going to be putting a soft top on this particular one, so he has his speaker box here. If I were you, this isn't my bike and I didn't talk to him before this, I would actually loosen up the speaker box and slip these top straps right here underneath this speaker. There's a gap right here, but I didn't ask the guy before I did it, so I'm not going to tear it apart and do that. But I would simply slide those, your Velcro straps that secure up here. I just slide them in underneath this stereo component if you happen to have that, and then I just lock them in place and leave them there all the time so that I can just use them when I need them, and they're out of the way when they won't be in the way when you don't need them. And then, so this gentleman also has some big mirrors. He can leave them here, and we can pull this to where, pull it back down to the body, strap it down just fine. It's going to put a little bit of a bow onto it. Due to the unique angle of the Arctic Cat, it changes that up. It varies that just a little bit. So it allows us it allows you to have some flexibility there with your mirrors. But if you wanted to, you could also take your knife and just do a quick, take a little jigsaw. Lexan's not going to crack or break. So you can take and just cut a little mark in there so that your windshield sits up tight. It's kind of be more my preference is to have it nice and tied up. Now, what we would do here is if we were going to be, you're going to be riding this, then obviously we'd hook these two straps through the top here. Obviously, as I was saying, because of his speaker box, I'm not going to be able to do that without asking him if I can take that off. So, and then put these straps on them, put it back on. So I'm just going to let him do that. But basically, the way the straps work is you put the smooth side facing you. Bryan's going to get over here a little closer for us so we can see this. So the smooth side's facing you. You put you through the loop there. And see, this is what I was saying. This is really causing a great bow here. I don't want to cut his windshield again. That's something that if you have a mirror, we're not actually going to cut that for you. We're just going to tell you how to do it, because then you can place the mirrors where you want them, and then that basically secures that down right there. It's not going to really hurt it. It's not going to really do anything. It just, like, I would trim it down. But as I said, it's not my bike, so I'm not going to be doing anything to it. And as it would be, you'd secure this up. Now, while we're here on the side, one of the things we can also look at is the uniqueness in the design of what we have in our windshields. Is that this particular windshield is for a soft top, and you can see that this bend is going back. Generally, as most windshields are made, this bend is going forward, which would be for what we consider a hard top bend. The backward bend allows you to bring your soft top over the front of the windshield. What I did on mine was put a Velcro strap actually right across the front of the windshield and had it sewed on the underside of my soft top, and then you can just seal it right across the front. It's slick as heck. So this is relatively easy though. You just pull your soft top down. This guy's got a soft top. It'll buckle right on here, coming over the top of the windshield. When he slams on his brakes and there's a bunch of water up there, it's going to roll over the front, come down the windshield. That's the main objective. The big problem to the forward-facing bend on the windshields that are standard on the market is that they're going to be throwing you slam on your brakes, that water's going to come underneath your windshield and down onto your lap, which was a pleasant experience I had the first time I took my standard, what the market does out there. But we design ours to fit what they're designed to fit, so we design them to work. And we custom size things. It's a unique side to us. If you if you were wanting to, if you have a hard top instead of a soft top configuration, we're going to ask you for a measurement. What we'd ask you to do is that right where my bracket is sitting right here, there is the weld. It's a top weld. And it's right underneath that bracket, above those two bolts. I should have shown that before we got on there. But that weld is right up here above the two bolts, and you would set your tape measure on that weld and bring it up to wherever your bottom lip may rest. Sometimes you have to actually tilt the tape out to kind of try to help give you a little level coming out the front, because some of them have lips. And so that they can determine what's the best height so that we'll be able to tilt that windshield up and down. And obviously I just put the straps on this one side. You'd obviously put them on both sides. But what I'll do now, show you how we tilt this down. So now the value here, and one of the things that we think to be a great advantage to our windshields over our competitors, is that the way we've designed it in this such. You have a half windshield, so when it's warm, if it's extremely dusty, I mean, people talk a lot about vortex and such with dirt sucking back in. Not so much if it's a vortex. The vortex is a circling kind of a situation, but certainly an aspect where there's a decreased amount of airflow coming through the front of the bike, yet airflow is coming in through the sides, and kind of causes your dust and such to be stagnant. So it doesn't move as well. When it's really dusty, you tilt your windshield down. When it's hot, part of the reason I got into this is I don't personally want a windshield on my bike when it's 90 degrees outside and I'm up in the mountains riding around. I have no desire for a windshield. That's where I ride with mine most of the time. And then we go to strap this down. We're going to hold this strap right through there like that. We're going to wrap this strap right around here like this. Now if you will, look at this, is that at the smooth side facing me on this top one, I have the fuzzy side facing out on this one. All we're going to do is we're going to bring those down, connect them together right there. I'm going to tell you that windshield doesn't go nowhere. Certain dudes. Okay, when you're going to put your bumpers on, put the straps on loosely. I always get carried away, tightening them down like I'm towing it down the road. You don't want to do that when you first go to set this up, because you can't get underneath to get to the stupid bumper. So you want to put these on first. Again, fuzzy side facing out, smooth side facing out. Again, not too tight. Just cinch those down like that for right now. This is our position for getting ready to put our bumpers on there. All windshields are supplied with 4 bumpers. Truthfully, on this bike, 2 bumpers will do it. But we supply you with 4. So due to the way this one sits, basically all you want to do is get right underneath there and stick one right there, and stick one right there. And now that windshield is actually completely 100% riding on our bumpers here, not touching your body. They're going to scratch up your body or do anything like that. So now that we've got that secured down, what I want to do is now I'm getting this thing ready for towing it down the road, or whether it be towing it down the road or driving it down the road. I'm gonna pull those down really nice and snug. You don't have to get over carried away with like ripping this thing down like Hercules or something. We're just wanting to pull it tight. You can see as I'm doing this that the windshield's flexing up a little bit. When you see the windshield flexing up this way, it means you pulled down plenty tight that way. So you don't want some great big bow here, because that's not actually good either on the bike. You're pulling too hard down here, which could potentially mar it or what have you. And this would be the time where you now know that everything fits and is working properly, and this would be the time you tear the protective plastic off. But this is how we tow. This is how we'd be driving down the road. So you can be driving, I know these things do 75 miles an hour. You can be doing 75 miles an hour down the freeway and have crosswinds, and this is designed to withstand that. Another really important and a valuable asset to our windshields is the advantage in cleaning windshields. We see this all the time. I don't care if it's a mar resistant, a non-mar windshield. If you don't clean it properly, it will scratch. I don't know if I'm being clear there. It's just you clean it wrong, it'll scratch. That's it. That's the advantages to Lexan. I mean, they won't crack or break, but you do have to clean them properly. Most important thing you can do, wash them off with water first. Advantage to a tilt. You tilt this windshield down, you rinse this side off with just some water. Nothing fancy. If I'm going mudding, I throw a gallon of water in the back of mine. And when I can't see out of the window, I get out, rinse it off, and go get it muddy all over again. So, you know, just a little water bottle that you have for drinking works just perfect. Rinse some water over this, clean off any mud or dirt with your hands. Take a clean, dry cloth, preferably microfiber is always the best. Dry it clean. We have a Novus 1 product that works fantastic to just spritz over the top of that. Let it sit for about 10 seconds, then dry that off. That reduces your static. It's an anti-static, anti-dust kind of a situation. So the Novus product is an awesome product to use. Then when we're done, washing the inside of our windshield, then we're going to tilt it up and wash off the outside of our windshield. And that is pretty much all there is to it. So if you have any other, after you've watched our video, if you have any other questions, please give us a call. We'd be happy to try to answer them for you, but review the whole video and we'll go from there. Thanks.